Yeah, we're here today. I'm going to show you one of my favorite flies. It is a Adams dry fly, Adams parachute. I call it an Adams two-tone, and that's because I use two different shades of antron, one orange and one white shade. So what you'll need for this fly is some rabbit all-purpose dubbing in color gray. You can get this at any fly store or order it online. 2 shades of antron and 2 different types of hackle. The 2 traditional types, which are brown and grizzly. So let's get started. Start the thread at the eye of the hook, and we'll move back to the end of the shank. Now we'll move back up and we'll begin tying in both of our wing materials. And we'll put those 2 different colors together, we'll lay them together, and then we'll just go ahead and give them one wrap over the top. And that wrap will hold it so that now I can fold the antron yarn underneath the hook and then begin wrapping it into position. Oops, it twisted on me. Wrap in front. And what I'm creating here is what's called the wing post, and what I'm doing is wrapping the antron yarn with my black thread so that it creates a post that the hackle can be wrapped on later. It's a very good way of constructing a dry fly that floats really well, and it floats lower in the water than other dry flies because instead of the hackle being parallel, it's horizontal or perpendicular. Now we're going to take 2 feathers, one from the brown hackle, pick out one from the side of the cape because those are the wider feathers, and then one from the opposite. Now that they're put together, it's good to measure it to about the length of the shank and then grab it at that measurement and secure it. You don't need to do any trimming whatsoever. You can just wrap the stem of the feather all the way up to the post, and what this does is it actually adds more strength. The more material you add to your flies, the more strength they gain, and so that helps. I'm just trimming this so that it'll be out of my way. We'll trim it again before we finish the fly. Now we'll take our gray rabbit dubbing, and this gray rabbit dubbing is really well, works really well for floating the fly because it's really buoyant and it wicks water, so it's more waterproof than other dubbings. It's also a very natural dubbing, which we like. And we'll just go ahead and wrap that dubbing . Once we've dubbed that section of the fly, or the abdomen of the fly. Then we'll take our 2 hackles, and this time we're searching for something more, well, certainly the hackle lengths will be shorter of the individual barbs. So we're looking for something pretty short. You can put your cape right up to the stem if it's easier. Yeah, that one's perfect. And then look on the brown one. We're using 1 brown and 1 grizzly for this step. That looks pretty good. See if I can find a better one. Now what I like to do is line my feathers up, or my hackles up, so that they're flat against each other, they're even at the tips. Go ahead and tie that in. Once you finish tying that in, you can go ahead and dub 2 in front of that. And these Adams flies, they match what are called Callibaetis, and it's a special type of bug that is in the water column and hatches. And what I'm doing now is pulling the hackle back so that I can just wrap the very tips of those hackles off. Now that I've wrapped the hackle, I can go ahead and give some more finishing wraps here. And hackles always tend to get stuck, even as hard as you try to pull back on them. They're always going to get, a few of them are always going to get caught in your thread. So just trim those off so that they don't get in your way. And then what you can do is take a whip finishing tool, trying to hold your bobbin back, because you're trying to, while you're holding your bobbin, you're also trying to pull those hackles back. It's a tricky juggling act, but you can get the hang of it after a few practices. Then you can pull all the hackles back, forward, and then the final trim to the wing. Cut it down to about the length of the tail or shorter. So the length of this tail should be about the length of this wing in the end. So it can be as long as or shorter than. And that is a 2-tone Adams.